Hi everyone, welcome to today's class. I'm Srinivas Rao, Assistant Professor, Department of Microbiology, Dr. B.R.R. College, Churchill. Today, we'll talk about a new topic. In previous sections, we discussed about various sessions on cellular respiration. Let's start a new one. For respiration to occur in a cellular system, we require a component, very important molecule. According to Linnaeus Pauling, who has written to Nature, I think that enzymes are molecules that are complementary in structure to the activated complexes of the reactions that they catalyze. That is, to the molecular configuration that is intermediate between the reacting substances and the product of a reaction for this catalyzed process. The attraction of the enzyme molecule for the activated complex would thus lead to a decrease in its energy and hence to a decrease in the energy of activation of the reaction and to an increase in the rate of reaction. So very beautifully quoted by Linnaeus Pauling. When you study the last stanzas, last lines, hence to a decrease in the energy of activation of a reaction and to an increase in the rate of reaction. So what occurs in the cellular system? It's a reaction. It's a reaction, bioconversion, conversion of molecules from one to another, conversion of molecules, conversion of molecules. So the form has gone. So we have the conversion of the molecules and we get energy. Energy. Very fine energy. How do we get? It's all because of reactions. Reactions occurring in the cellular system. You know one thing? Thousands of chemical reactions proceed very rapidly at a given instant within all living cells of an organism. Virtually, all of these reactions are mediated by remarkable molecular devices. We call them as enzymes. We call them as enzymes. The enzymes are central to every biochemical reaction and are called the catalyst of biochemical systems. We call them as catalyst, catalyzed, catalyst. Chemists often call catalyst. What is the catalyst? So sometimes people often say that don't be act as a catalyst. What the catalyst will do? Catalyst will make two reactants to participate in a reaction in a quick manner, hence a product is going to form. Now the enzymes will act as a catalyst in a cellular system, in a biological system, and for the conversion of molecular conversion of the molecules, and hence energy will be produced. That's why enzymes we call them as biocatalyst, because this occurs in the cellular system. They, in organized sequences, and catalyze the hundreds of stepwise reactions by which nutrient molecules are degraded, chemical energy is converted and transformed, and biological macromolecules are made from simple precursors. Through the action of regulatory enzymes, metabolic pathways are highly coordinated to yield a harmonious interplay among the many different activities necessary to sustain life. What we read so far in cellular respiration, what we read about glycolysis, We read about TCA and we studied about electron transport chain. What has occurred? It's a fundamental preliminary cellular respiration. Where does it occur? In aerobically and anaerobically, where there is a macromolecules like food and nutrient molecules are degraded and chemical energy converted and transformed to biological macromolecules, and so that the simple precursors are synthesized, so that some new components are synthesized in the cellular system. To do so, to occur all these things, to carry out glycolysis, to carry out tricarboxylic acid, to carry out ETC, to carry out oxidative phosphorylations, to carry out beta oxidations, to carry out purine synthesis, to carry out purine degradation, to carry out amino acid synthesis, to carry out protein synthesis, to do all the things. It's a network of hundreds of reactions are occurring in the cellular system. A small cell which is invisible to our eye. All these reactions takes place, and transformation of the macromolecules to the micro, micro to the macro, and energy is released into the system, and that energy used for other purposes in the cellular system. It happens exclusively with the presence of a molecule. That molecule we call it as an enzyme. That molecule we call it as an enzyme. It catalyzes enormous diversity of biochemical reactions because, you know why? They carry out enormous biological reactions. They catalyzes. They never go wrong. They never go wrong. They never carry out inappropriate reactions because they are highly specific. Highly specific in mode of action. They are highly specific in mode of action. You and me does mistakes while doing something, but enzymes, they never commit mistakes. What do? They are highly specific and they have a very high reaction capacity to bind wide range of molecules, and they bind with the substrate, and they can convert, they can orient, they can bring different kind of changes. What do? They can break the bonds. What do? They can break the bonds, and they can make the bonds. They can interchange the, means they can shift the head groups. They can shift the bonds. They can make the single bond to double bond. They can make double bond to triple bond. Sometimes they will convert functional groups one to another, multiple activities. They are going to do very selectively. That was the beauty of an enzyme. Without an enzyme, cellular system doesn't work. Without an enzyme, cellular system, nothing works. When the enzymes came into light, when you see the history of enzymes, you see already enzymes are, what are they? Enzymes are accelerate particular chemical reactions. So late 1700 1800, digestion of starch, sugar extracts, plant and saliva. But meat digestion by secretion in stomach were identified first time, but mechanism unknown. But in 19th century, fermentation of sugar, alcohol in yeast was studied by Louis Pasteur. Louis Pasteur was the first man studied. Basically, Louis Pasteur was a chemist. He was a chemist, and he studied and he noticed the conversion of the sugar. The conversion of the sugar into alcohol when they added yeast. We call them vitalism. Vitalism. But in 1879, a German physiologist, Kuhne, first time he used an enzyme term, because enzyme means in Greek. En means in, zyme means yeast. In yeast. This is enzyme means in, it's enzyme is a Greek term. Enzyme is a Greek term. In means, en means in, zyme means yeast. So in yeast, because Yeast held responsible for transformation of sugar into alcohol. Then by the appreciation, they have given the name called as enzyme. But later it was noticed it is not only present in yeast, but it present in every cellular system. Every cellular system. But the name of the enzyme was termed by Kuhne. The first enzyme isolated by E. Buchner in 1903, and for that he received a Nobel Prize. E. Buchner. He received a Nobel Prize for identification of the first enzyme, and also the nature of the enzyme. James Summer was isolated and purified first enzyme urease, and he obtained in a crystalline form and received Nobel Prize in 1946. And he isolated from Jack Bean. Isolated from the Jack Bean, the first enzyme isolated and purified by James Sumner. Isolated, and he shared Nobel Prize with 3 other colleagues, but half of the share received by the James Sumner. In early 1980s, so far up to 1946, identification of the urease. Later, many scientists did many works in enzymes and according to kinetics. Michaelis Menten and Lineweaver-Berg. Many scientists came and they did about different kinetics and enzymatic actions and all the things. But people believe that what is the chemical nature of the enzyme? What is the chemical nature? So I am talking about enzyme. But what is the chemical nature of the enzyme? Enzymes are made by what? Enzymes are made by proteins. Proteins are one of the macromolecules. They are one of the macromolecules. We all know that proteins are different types. We have simple proteins, we have compound proteins and conjugated proteins, we have derived proteins, they are different things. Among them, enzymes are a class of proteins. Same how we have antibodies. We have keratin. We have functionally we have different type of proteins. We have functional proteins and we have structural proteins. We have functional proteins and we have structural proteins. The enzymes falls in the category of functional protein. They does functions. But in 1980, the research led by Sidney Altman and Thomas Chick independently found that RNAs can also act as catalysts of biochemical reactions. The notion till we have all enzymes are made by proteins, but this was broken by Sidney Altman and Chick, and they identified RNA, some part of ribosomal RNA, a part of ribosomal RNA, rRNA is acting as an enzyme. Then they named as ribosomes. And for this, Chick and Altman received Nobel Prize in 1989. From that onwards, the chemical nature of the enzyme was changed. Enzymes are made by proteins and RNA. And late in 1960s and early 1970s, restriction enzyme was discovered and characterized. Molecular biologist Arber Hampton, Hugh Smith, and Daniel Nathan. Restriction enzyme identification, it was a breakthrough in rDNA technology. It paved way for a new door in technology, that is rDNA technology. Now today we are enjoying the fruits of gene technology, rDNA technology, and all the things. All these things are happened because of identification of the restriction enzymes by Arber, Hampton, and Smith and Nathan. It was happened in 1970s. So it has opened a new technological gates into the field of biological science and kick-started the wave of biotechnology after invention of this enzyme. The enzymes has the greatest importance in their daily life. Basically, we call a catalyst molecule. What does it do? It accelerates chemical reactions without itself being chemical altered in the process. Means what the enzymes does, what the enzymes will do, they they participate in a chemical reaction. But you know one thing, they participate in a chemical. For example, this was a chemical A and this was a chemical B, and a product converted to P. But here is the involvement of an enzyme. Enzyme will sit here while the reaction is going on. But it will make A, B together and to form P, but it will remain as enzyme E. That was the beauty of it. Enzymes are similar as non-biological catalyst. What do? They lower the activation energy. They do not participate in reaction, increase rate of reaction. See what a beautiful thing the enzymes will do. They lower the activation energy. What is meant by activation energy? What is meant by activation energy? Activation energy. To get activate, for example, sometimes we may be moody. To make us activated, we must have some interesting things. Some interesting things fly in front of us, then we'll feel, oh yes, yeah, we need to go. So we need to get activated. A energy must be created in such a way that we need to be activated. But here, the lower the activation energy. I'll give an example with respect to. Now, there is a block. Here is a wooden block. This is the wooden block. This wooden block must set a fire. You need to set a fire for the wooden block. Then I have given you with a matchbox. I have given you a matchbox. I have given you matchbox. In that matchbox, you have matches. You have a small matches you have. Small matches you have. You have matches in your hand. Then I asked you lift this block, the match. Then what do? You are lighting. Whole matchbox will end empty, but it will not light the fire because if this block need to get a fire, the activation energy comes to the point where it should receive the flame. Activation energy means lowering activation energy means now it is at a least amount, it is ready to participate in the reaction. Then I have given a pack of petrol. You just poured petrol or kerosene to just lit it. What happened? This petrol and kerosene, when you flown or when you immersed on this particular block of wood, what happened? Petrol will burn immediately. The activation energy of this block was reduced and it will start burn. What is it? Now here physically this petrol or kerosene or diesel will act as a catalyst. A single matchstick is enough to lit the whole block. Same manner, what happens? In biological systems, two reactions will always take place. This reactant A, reactant B get excited and they need to participate in reaction and form the product. It should happen in fraction of seconds. If it should happen in fraction of seconds, what do we require? We need to lower their activation energy so that they are very speedily react each other and get the product. Who will does? This is done by an enzyme. Now it behaves like a petrol and diesel and gas. They do not participate in reaction. They do not participate. This reaction will not apply over here. They do not participate in the reaction. Catalyst, they never participate in the reaction. They will come back again. They will come back again. They will make two reactants together and they will come back again. And they increase the rate of reaction. There's quick rate of reaction. There is a quick rate of reaction happens in the enzymes. And When you see, there are some other properties of enzymes. They have a catalytic property, they have reversibility, they are highly sensitive to pH, and they are highly heat specific, and they are very specific in nature. They are very specific in nature. Enzymes are very specific. Binding to substrate may be less specific, but catalyzed reactions are highly specific. And rate of reaction is too fast. And they will reach a particular maximum rate, saturations, and they require proper temperature and pH to act well. And so when you see, they are catalytic in nature. Enzymes are catalytic in nature. How? See, enzymes catalyze and therefore accelerate the rate of chemical reaction. They do not normally participate in these reactions, or they do so. At the end of reaction, they are recovered as such without undergoing qualitative and quantitative change. It is this property of an enzyme that helps them catalyze transformation of a large quantity of substrate. A catalytic power of an enzyme is measured by a turnover number. Turnover number. That refers to the number of substrate molecules converted into product in a particular time. For example, within a particular time t, how many substrate molecules converted into product? That we call it as a turnover number. When the enzyme is fully saturated with the substrate, the maximum turnover number of some enzymes, for example, the turnover number of a lysozyme is 0.5 per second. DNA polymerase 1 is 2 and lactate dehydrogenase LDH 1000 and penicillinase has 2000 and you have acetylcholine which has 25,000 and carbonic anhydrase has almost all 60,000. Means in a given second it can convert 60,000 substrates into product. 60,000 products into products. So that's what they can do. And the enzymes, they have the reversibility. They can participate. They have a reversible reaction. For example, I'll give you an example by taking a glycolysis. When you say glycolysis process, glucose will be converted to glucose 6-phosphate, which is a reversible reaction, both the ways. And when you notice entire glycolysis process from glycolysis to pyruvate, it's a reversible reaction. For example, you see fructose 6-phosphate can be converted to glucose 6-phosphate, or else glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate can be converted to dihydroxyacetone phosphate. Both are interconvertible. It's a reversibility. Depends upon the substrate requirement, the reaction can be forwarded and it is reversible. And pH sensitive, we all know that. I already told you, most of the enzymes are made by proteins. Now, the proteins are very specific to pH. You all know that pH is a negative logarithm of hydrogen ion concentration. We have a pH range from 0 to 14, and 7 is the neutral. And we have basic, acidic, and neutral. Acidic 0 to 6.5, and basic means 7 to 7.5 to 14 you have, and whereas 7 to 7.5 you have neutral. All proteins, they are going to perform best at their respective pHs. The same manner, enzymes are also falls in the same category. Some of the enzymes works in acidic pH, Some of them are works in basic pH. Hence, we need to provide a proper pH for the enzymes to do work. And when you notice, most of the enzymatic reactions, for example, the intestinal enzymes, in the intestinal enzymes are the digestive enzymes. Digestive enzymes always they work in acidic conditions. Because when you see the stomach pH, almost 2 to 3. 2 to 3, the stomach pH is. So whatever the enzymes, pepsinogen, chymogen, all the enzymes, they work in acidic pHs. But when you go to kidney, kidney is in basic conditions. The pH is almost above 8, 9 like that. Then what happens? The enzymes which they work in kidney, they are basic type. Means the enzymes which are working, means that when you look up the property of enzyme, the enzyme to work in a respective area, it must be sensitive to the pH. Should be taken care of the pH. At the same time, heat specific. They are heat specific. Heat means here we can call it as a temperature. It's a temperature. They also temperature based. You know one thing, enzymes are very active at a optimum temperature, but when there is a 10-degree rise in temperature for an enzyme, its rate of reaction speed up doubles the rate of reaction. The rate of reaction of an enzyme get double. So hence the temperature plays a major role. Above all, they are proteins. They have a specific temperature range to work. That's why they must have an optimum temperature. Body temperature maybe 37 degrees. When the temperature go beyond almost all, when you measure it in 98.4 degree Fahrenheit, when you go beyond 99, 100 or 101 or 102, 103, 104, beyond that, what happens? The proteins in the body get inactivated. Proteins means almost all enzymes. Enzymes, that doesn't work. When the enzyme in the cellular system stops working, the cell will die. It leads to the death of a cellular body. That's why the temperature must not elevate beyond the specific ranges. And also the enzymes, they work in a best temperatures. If the temperature varies for the enzyme, it cannot react well. That's why they are highly specific to the heat. Another one is specificity. They are very highly specific. Enzymes are highly specific in their action. With few exceptions, their specificity lies in the fact that they are specific to substrate molecule. They are specific to substrate, and they are specific to structure, and they are specific to isomers. Some enzymes act only on one substrate. For example, H2O is there. H2O plus CO2 gives rise to H2CO3. Their carbonic anhydrase an enzyme which brings the carbon dioxide into carbon dioxide. When react with the water, we get a carbonic acid. This is the carbonic acid. It's a specific reaction, but sometimes there is a group specificity. We can see group specificity. You can see the group specificity. What happens? Certain enzymes catalyzes the reaction of structural related groups. For example, lactate dehydrogenase, an enzyme called as LDH, lactate dehydrogenase. What is doing? The pyruvate is converted to lactate, where NADH2 get converted to NAD plus. NAD plus. Now what happens? We get lactic acid. We get lactic acid. So it's an interconversion step. It's an interconversion step. Pyruvate can be converted to lactic acid, or lactic acid converted to pyruvic acid, but it is carried out by an enzyme called as lactate dehydrogenase. And we have an optical specificity. We have optical specificity. Means enzymes always looks for its structural, functional, and optical. Striking aspect of enzyme is specificity. In case, in particular enzyme act only one or two optical isomer compounds. For example, we have arginase. Arginase, what it will do, react with only L-arginine and not with a D isomer. However, some enzymes are specific to interconvert the two optical isomer as a compound. So the alanine racemase catalyzes the interconversion of L-alanine to D-alanine. So here we have L-alanine to D-alanine. This is carried out by an enzyme called as alanine racemase conversion. I think we have a L type and D type. Levorotatory L type and D type amino acid depends upon the when you notice the amino acids. This is H and R. We have carboxy group, CO minus, and NH amino group. Depends upon the arrangement of the carboxy group and NH group. Then we call it as L amino acid and D amino acid. L-alanine and D-alanine. And sometimes you have a geometrical specificity. Certain enzyme shows specific only towards the cis and trans. We have cis and transform. For example, we have fumaric acid and malic acid. I'll draw the structure of fumaric acid over here. Fumaric acid. Then we have CH, COH. COH. And then you have CS2, COH. Here this is the malic acid, this is the fumaric acid. With the addition of water molecule, here there is a functional group is added, hydroxy group is added. Means that an enzyme shows specificity only towards cis and transforms compound. For example, enzyme fumarase catalyzes the interconversion of fumaric acid to malic acid. It does not act on malic acid, cis isomer of fumaric acid, with a D malic acid. That's why they are geometrically specific. And sometimes we need to notice another point is most of the time the enzymes are amphoteric in nature. Basically, the amino acids are amphoteric in nature. At the same time, the enzymes are also amphoteric in nature. What do? Enzyme molecule possess numerous groups which yields hydrogen ions. Slightly alkaline solutions, the group is hydroxy, and slightly acidic means amphoteric in nature means maybe it is in protonated form or in hydroxy form. So if it is in slightly alkaline solutions, it is in like this, and it is, if it is in a hydroxy group, it is hydroxy group. It is in acidic conditions. So that's why the nature of the enzymes are amphoteric in nature, and as I told, they show the reversibility. And also enzymes alter rate of reactions, and at a particular point of time we'll get a equilibrium. For example, when you notice the rate of reactions of an enzyme, we'll talk in later sections. When the rate of reaction, this is the substrate and this is the enzyme, and this is the product form. Particular product forms, particular point of time it reaches a plateau, reaches a maximum value. It continues in the same, because enzyme substrate complexes will become equal, become equal, and it maintains the constancy. Hence, the rate of reaction at a particular point of time, it reaches the plateau. At the same time, and also enzymes are regulated. And we may notice enzyme does all these functions. Does it regulated? Yes. Enzyme has a regulatory mechanisms. I'll tell you one of the simplest example by taking glycolysis process. Glucose converted to pyruvate. In series of almost 8 to 9 steps, where each and every step is mediated by various enzymes, what happens here? Each and everything is mediated by various enzymes. So in the particular medium, pyruvate concentration is more and more. Then what happens? If the pyruvate concentration is more, this pyruvate concentration more in the medium, which gives a feedback inhibition, and so that stop the conversion of glucose into the pyruvate. And then what happens? The activation of these enzymes in their respective locations will be stopped. Glucose cannot be converted into glucose 6-phosphate, to fructose. There is no glycerol 8-3-phosphate, 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate. There is no 3-phosphoglycerate, 2-phosphoglycerate, pyruvate. No such a reverse process. The formation of all these components cannot happen because the pyruvate concentration is increased in the medium. When the pyruvate concentration decreases, then it stops. This is how enzymes are regulated while a reaction is taking place. This process we call it as feedback inhibition. So all these are some of the properties of enzymes. In next class, we'll talk about classification of enzymes. Thank you.